Hi, welcome to Real Talk by Marty Rodriguez. And I want to also introduce my co-host,
Isait de la Fuente. Thank you guys for joining us. Marty, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be here with you. I mean, you're a legend in this industry. You're the queen of real estate. What made you get into this business?
Well, you know what? My husband is really the one that encouraged me to get into the business. He knew I could sell. Since I was a little girl, everybody knew that. I went to Catholic school for 12 years, so I was the best Christmas card seller. I was the best candy seller. I could outsell any kid in school since I was 6 years old. Ed's older, a lot older than me. Not a lot, but a few years older than me. And so you probably remember me when I was a little girl, going door to door and selling all these different things from school. And in those days, you could do that, when I grew up. So he's the one that really pushed me to get my real estate license, and I'm glad he did. His whole goal was you'll get your license and we'll buy some houses, and that was
the idea.
That was the idea, and then wow. Things took a little bit of a different turn, but it was good. I started selling real estate, and in fact, when I told him that I wanted to sell real estate, I started off with a partner, and things weren't going well with the partner, so I wanted to break up the partnership. And I told him, I really would like to get a housekeeper so I can focus more on work. Yeah. And the word is focus. Okay. So he's like, oh no, you can clean house and take, you can clean house and work too. And so then, my broker's wife where I was working, she had brought a girl from England that was going to work for her. She goes, well, I don't really need her anymore. Does anybody want her? So I said, I took the chance. I said, I'm going to take her. And anyway, so she came to work for me. In fact, later on, I sponsored her to come to the United States. Nice. So she started helping me, with the kids and cleaning the house. And all of a sudden, when I became focused, okay, I started selling a lot of real estate. So my husband says, hey, don't even make the bed. Just go to work, But but the main word there that, I want to share with people is when you focus on what you want and focus on whatever your goal is, when you put enough focus, you're going to make it happen. And that's exactly what happened to me.
That's true. Very, very true.
Yes.
And I do want to add something. Ed, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you for convincing her to get her license, because the entire industry appreciates it, and we're so grateful for it.
Yes.
Well, I got started as I first started off as an assistant to an appraiser, right? I worked as an assistant for a couple of years. Then I got my license in 2004, and was working as a mortgage loan officer. So I have a lending background,
which is great.
It's great because it helps in so many ways to just kind of to be creative and putting deals together, and also it helps me protect my clients in a very unique way, because I can identify what are potential red flags in a transaction where other agents might not be able to, right? Because of my background. So
making sure that they're getting the best loan for them.
Yes, exactly.
And the best rate.
Yes, exactly. And I started. I was a lender. Like I said before. I was prospecting, calling on Marty all the time, and just trying to get some business. But then I realized that with some of the realtors that I was working with, I realized they were the quarterback in every transaction, right? They're the ones who navigate and control the transaction, and I wanted to be a part of that because I wanted to be the direct contact with my clients and the consumers and help them. I wanted to be the person that they go to in anything that they needed having to do with real estate, and in every transaction be able to help them navigate through everything. And as a lender, I was a little limited. You do the financing and all that, but that's kind of like, that's your lane, right?
Right.
Stay in your lane. That's the lane as a lender. And so that's what made me get into the real estate. I really wanted to just have that opportunity to be the quarterback for my clients,
and now you could be the person who was guiding the transaction, choosing the lender for the buyer, making the right decisions for them in so many more arenas, the house, the lending, the cost, all of that. So I think that makes you a better realtor. I really do.
No, it really does. I'll give you a quick example. For example, there was a transaction that I was helping a buyer with, right? And we were working with the lender, and then another lender promised them just lower rates, right? They promised them a lower rate, and I asked, well, let's look at the loan estimate. And this particular buyers, was kind of limited on the assets that they had, and I noticed that they were charging them a couple points, and I was able to identify that, and I called the lender and I asked, I noticed you're charging them a couple points, and if you charge them a couple points, they're not going to have enough in assets to be able to qualify. Are there any other assets that you're accounting for? They said, no, I didn't realize that they didn't have enough assets. And when we went over that, like, yeah, as a lender, you should have known that, right?
Right.
Mentioned that to my buyer, and of course, right away they went over to the original lender, and we were able to get it done. But that's just one example of how I'm able to help them in a very unique way.
Right. And and for me now with so many years in the real estate industry, I think it's 46. So for me, I really have picked out my team, my ancillary services that I want to work with. So I have 5-6 different lenders that that I use depending on the client.
Yeah.
And these are people I've known for years. I know them. I trust them. I know they're going to take good care of my people. And I'm able to really see that for them, so they don't have to worry, and that's why they trust us. And I know that they have to trust you because you are so well versed in in all those arenas as as I have become as well. So
no, I know by experience they're excellent. There's the ones that we work with. So
yeah,
thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you to all of our
amazing team.
Yeah, our amazing team, escrow, title, lenders. Home warranty, everybody.
So, and Marty, just going back to the different types of the markets that you've been able to navigate through, right? Because you've been through a lot of different types of markets, right? And
yes.
The ups and downs. Have you ever seen one that's similar to what we're seeing right now?
You know what? The markets have all been different because I started in 1978. So in 1989 was when we had the first downturn from 1989 to 1997, okay? And at that time, well, actually even before that, because in 81, 82, 83, interest rates were 18%.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then when the rates started to come down, to 12%, that market actually, rose to 1989 peak. From 89, the market dropped to 1997. In 1997, the market went back up again, propelled by stated income loans in your 2005, 6, and 7. So they created a false market because they were giving people money they really couldn't afford to pay back. So as a result, we had a foreclosure short sale market from 2008 to 2012. So the market came down. So 2013, the market started to climb back up where you find us where we are today. But then the market rose pretty fast based on interest rates of 2.5% to 4%. So you saw a lot of appreciation, and this is all during COVID. Now the market is actually still pretty strong when it comes to the seller's pricing. There is a lot of competition for the buyers because we don't have as much inventory. But hopefully that will change a little bit with time. I think maybe after the first of the year, you might see more people wanting to make the move. And we're just coming back to a more normal market. Interest rates were, as high as 8% last month.
Yeah.
And now we're, dipping back down to 7, high 6s.
Yeah.
So I think that's, a big plus for everyone and for our buyers. And like I said, you still want to own a home because the cost of rent has probably gone up significantly as well.
Yeah, and I think another part of what's also changed a lot that's happened, I'm sure, is just even, for example, technology, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
The role that it plays. It's allowed for information to be so accessible, right? Not only for us as realtors, but also just consumers out there. It's very easy to just, pick up our phone, our device, and look things up and just gather some information. And I think it's great. It's very useful. But I also think it also plays a part in that it creates a lot of confusion as well. Because there might be some
because a lot of bad information out there. Yes,
that's out there as well, right? You get a lot of good information, misinformation, and it creates a lot of confusion. And so what would you say to
Well,
that?
I think because when I started, there were no computers, there were no cell phones, so I have evolved a long ways. And when I'm finding now, because I have people that do a lot of my social media for me, and one thing I know for sure, even at my age, you have to be on social media, and you have to have the right people. And when you're listening and following people, you need to really study to make sure that they are giving you the right information and not misinformation, because there is so much, information out there, and some of it is not true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's probably the big thing for me is to study who you follow, study what we're learning. But for me, I'm always learning everything about my industry, about real estate. How can I help my clients? And whether it's helping them to find the right house, making sure they do all their investigations, whether a seller or a buyer, making sure that they've that they have the right loan. When it comes to construction, I know a little bit about everything, whether it's construction material, probates, trusts, conservatorships, divorces. There's so many things that I have learned along the way that I am an asset and a value to my clients, and I'm really happy about that. And some of my clients will call me even when we're not doing transactions. In fact, I tell them, I says, I don't want you making mistakes. You have questions, just call me. Any real estate questions, I know that I probably have the answer for you, and if I don't, I'm going to get it for you, because I don't want you to make a mistake. I see people deeding properties in and out when they shouldn't be doing it. They create tax liabilities. So again, we're here for you at Century 21, Marty Rodriguez, and that's what makes us great.
And that's what makes her the queen of real estate, right? Look at just all this knowledge that she has. Now, there might also, I'm sure there's a lot of agents out there that are watching us as well. What would you say to those agents to help them stay relevant in this in today's times?
Well, you know what? It just, everybody in the industry, I am really, very an advocate about having all the right people in the industry. I don't like it when I see people that are not doing what's right for their buyer, their seller, their client, whatever it is. And sometimes we can't say anything because they're not our clients, So for me, it's like, make sure that you're educating yourself. My dad always told us, you're going to learn until the day you die. Never stop learning. After all my years in the business, there's so much information in this computer. People ask me when I'm going to retire. I go, retire? I go, no, I have too much information. I go, there's so many more people that I need to help, And I keep learning. You see me. In a class or a webinar, what's coming up new, working with our social media team, actually being here today. I mean there's so much that that I have to do, and so much more that I have to share, and people that I have to help out there that need me. So I'm not going to retire. I'm going to retire when I'm dead.
That's amazing. No, it really is, because that approach that you have is just what makes it so unique. Makes you so unique in this industry, and just as a person. I mean,
it's just like, I'm here for you.
No, it's fantastic.
We're always brainstorming. We're learning from each other, and I mean, there's so much to share. And this is the biggest. Real estate is one of the biggest investments that a family will ever make, and I want to make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And and I was also thinking about maybe there's something I thought about to not so much agents, but just consumers, anybody who is thinking about relocating or even purchasing a home. What came to mind is because you're talking about agents educating themselves and all that. If I can give one suggestion is interview more than one agent to represent you, right? Interview more than one and offer them, or even just be okay with them providing you with a weekly newsletter or just updating you with the market. What that will do is the one agent, because they're probably only going to be one out of the ones that you interview, who will follow through, will be the one who is really doing exactly what Marty is talking about. And, is the one that's going to be on top of the game, knowledgeable, being up to date with the market and what's going on. And it's not going to be that one person who will be able to follow through with the promise and be able to probably provide you with the services needed so that you can achieve those goals. So I know I just was thinking about that because I know we there's a lot of people out there who say, well, they don't have access, for example, to somebody like you right away that maybe they don't live in the area, right? When they say, well, how do we know what agent to select, what agent to hire to represent us? And I think that could be an opportunity because it could take a little while from the moment you decide to either relocate to sell your home or to purchase, right? It's a process. And within that process, it's very one tool that can help you identify that right agent for you is ask them, or even just be open to allowing them to provide you with information, and you'll be able to see who the right agent is, I think, for you.
Right. And I would tell them, when I'm gonna sell a house, I go, I need to see it, I need to feel it.
Yeah.
It's like your agent. You need to see them, you need to feel them, you need to make sure that this is the person that is going to be for you, and the person that's going to help you, and the person that you're going to be comfortable with.
Yeah, because I'm sure I mean, I know we hear this often, right? With when we talk to clients, they were probably dealing with a different agent at the time, or just before us, or whoever, and they thought, well, this person was referred to me, or this person, I met them at so and so place, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. And I think
right,
interviewing more than one agent, and again, putting them to work, I think will.
Yeah, well, and I know myself, in the last couple of years, I feel not only my real estate agent, I feel I'm a project manager, because a lot of my clients, I really want them to get top dollar. So I'm usually going in, with the contractor that I use, to get the house ready, whether it's painting, repairs, what have you. I want to make sure that it has the best presentation, so they'll get the best dollar.
Yeah.
If time allows me, that's what I'm going to do for them. So not just selling real estate. I mean, we do so many other things. For
I know
them.
you help people in so many different ways. I mean, even talking about a certain doctor to go call, or
yeah, yeah, I do. I go beyond real estate. I think I've lived so many years, so I know a lot of people, and sometimes whether it's directing them to to a doctor, to a contractor, to the window guy, the glass guy, the
Yeah.
framer.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many resources because of all the years that I've been in the business, and I've met so many people and worked with so many people. So I know who's good, who's not, and who I would recommend and who I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's important, valuable.
It is very, very, very important. And you deal with a lot of sellers, especially, right?
Yes.
And what would you say is one of the challenges that sellers are faced with right now?
I think this is a seller's market still. I think sometimes people tell them otherwise, but in our area here, in Los Angeles and Bernardino counties, I think it's still a seller's market. So when we go out, it's our job to make sure that we not only price it right, and sometimes even though we price it right, I tell them, you might be getting more than what we're, more than the market value of this property. And then my job is also to try to get that appraisal as high as I can, so that it makes it a nice, smooth transaction. I think that's one of the things that they're faced with, and picking the right agent to make sure that they're going to get the exposure that they need, and that agent is looking out for their best interest and not the agent's best interest.
Yeah.
That's
very
so
important.
yeah, it is. And I think, that's the way our team is set up, because I'm, mostly a listing agent on the team, and, I work with my buyer's agents like yourself and, several other people. Although you do both, you list and sell. My majority of my work is on the listing side, working with, working with the sellers. Yeah. And I like that, because my focus is really only on the seller side of the transaction. But
that's
also,
your specialty.
That's my specialty. But also, on the buyer side, it's making sure that you protect the seller and you protect the buyer. And it's always going to be a win-win situation. But this market it's definitely still a seller's market, no matter what people say.
Well, it is, but I think it goes back to it could be misinformation.
And this is today. What's our day today? December
14th.
14th,
right?
yeah.
2023.
Yeah, that's today, December 14th.
Yeah, exactly.
We never know what our market's going to do from month to month. So
we don't know what's going to happen in January.
Exactly, but that's what it is in LA, San Bernardino counties, and and Orange County too, because I watch Orange County as well. So,
but I was thinking you mentioned it's still a seller's market, almost as if there are people who feel like it might not be, right? And it leads me back to the misinformation or headlines that are out there, right? That maybe will say, for example, I've seen headlines that say there's a 50% drop in sales in real estate, as an example. So that headline immediately makes you think, ooh, we're going to see a crash. Oh, prices are dropping. Now it's a buyer's market. But in reality, what they're talking about is in comparison to 12 months ago or last year.
Right.
Well, that time was a historic time, right? And if, sales dropped a certain percentage, what does that mean as a whole? It doesn't necessarily mean, for example, if prices...
What it means is that we have a shortage of inventory.
Yes.
That's what it means.
Exactly.
A shortage of inventory.
But the headline doesn't say that.
Yes.
And I think people then look at the headline and they'll think, oh, maybe it's now a buyer's market or now prices are dropping. But
you know what?
Exactly
but you know what? It's a seller's market, but it is the buyer's market because it's still the time for the buyer to buy because the market isn't going to change. Yes. So the buyer still needs to get into the market to be a homeowner.
Well, because also we're not really seeing signs of inventory increasing to a point where it's going to impact pricing, right? Anytime soon. We're not necessarily seeing that. So no. I think what that tells us is I think prices will continue to increase, at least
a little bit, not like before, but probably still a little bit. I agree.
Yeah, but they're not necessarily going to drop.
I don't see that.
No,
no,
it's based on what we're seeing right now.
You probably see, if you saw anything, you probably see some leveling out, but it doesn't. It appears that they're predicting that you'll have probably single digit 2-3% increase.
Got it.
So that's what I've been reading, and that's what I've been seeing. But like I said, you just don't know what's going to happen, and so I think as a buyer, you just need to get into the market, especially right now since the rate has dropped in the last week. And you're probably even could be dipping in the 60s, depending on your credit score. If you're a buyer getting ready to buy, look into that right now because I noticed today that rate had dropped.
Yes,
quite a bit.
Yes.
So,
and I'm gonna just quickly go back to the interest rates and how you said it's also a buyer's market, which is very true. And
exactly.
When I talk to buyers, sometimes they'll ask me, "Is this a good time to buy?" And the question I always ask them is, what market do you want to be in? Do you want to be in the market where, yes, rates are higher than they were, but you will be able to purchase a home with less competition, right? And then refinance when the rates do come down and lower that, you'll be able to lower that payment by refinancing, or be in the market when the rates are already low, there'll be an influx of buyers competing for the same property, which will then, you'll have to probably overbid for the house.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And not have enough room to lower the payment because you're already buying with a low rate. Which market do you want to be in? And for the most part, people will say the first one, obviously.
Right. So, which makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is, yes, a really good time to buy right now. So, and again, you've experienced a lot of different markets and all that. So I lost my train of thought.
I know I've experienced a lot of different markets. Okay. And so, in every market, it's actually been different. This market is different. In my 46 years, I haven't seen a market like this that has done what this market's doing right now. Interest rates so long at 2.5% to 4%, taking away the inventory from the market. No, we didn't have that. We had the last downfall of the market was money that was given away, and the market resulted in foreclosure and short sales. So you had still at that point too many houses to sell coming on the market. Yeah. So they've all been different. So
and what has helped you thrive in all these different markets?
I think that I have adjusted to every market, so I know how to sell in every market. As you can see, I've always been productive. It changes because remember, I've been a buyer too, so I've bought in some of these markets. I bought at 12% interest rate some of my properties. So, if the rate is at 12% and it's there for a while, then that's the market. If the rate comes down to 2 or 3%, that's the market. But now this is the market, and we have to get used to it. You're not going to see 2.5%, 4% for many, many years, probably not in my lifetime, so, but that's okay. This is what it is. Make sure that you become a homeowner. Otherwise you'll be like your friend at 75 years old, being asked to leave and not knowing where to go when rents are so high as they are today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that could happen to a lot of other people that are out there as well. That
Exactly.
are in
Well,
the same situation.
yeah. One of my renters just moved. I have a rental that I was renting for $3,200 a month in Glendora, and we just sold him a house in Upland, and his payment is now, it's $6,000 a month, but he's doing well and he's happy. He wants a home for his kids. He was married, divorced, and just wanted to have a place for his kids to come to.
Works out.
And he's happy, and I'm happy for him because now he's got a home and he doesn't have to rely on a landlord to tell him that he's got to move out if he's got to sell the house.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Yes,
and especially now with the rents, the rents that are
the cost of rent.
The cost of rent obviously
yeah,
have gone up.
And
so.
And for him, now has security. He has stability for his family, and that's what's important. And he just moved out of that place for $3,200, and I'm going to be renting it for $3,500. So
what I find amazing though, Marty, is you've been in this business for so long. Excuse me. You've been in this business for so long that you have all this knowledge, all this experience. But what I've noticed about you is you always want to learn, right? And
yes,
you're eager to learn more. Like you don't think that you know it all, even though you have all this knowledge. There's still more to learn, and I think, if I can say so, I think that plays a big part in how you've been able to navigate through the changes in the market and different markets.
Correct.
Because you're constantly wanting to learn about the new market and the new market.
And the new market.
And you don't want to stick to just. And you don't say, okay, this is how I know what real estate is, and this is the way it is, and that's it.
And it's not, because every market's changed. So I forgot. I have to talk to myself. I say, okay, Marty, the market's changing. What do you have to do now to survive the new market? Yeah. This is my I think my fourth. Let's see. When I started in 78, so it was 89, 2007, and now this. So this is actually my third real downturn, for me. Well, I'm not going to call it a downturn. It's just a downturn in the number of sales. It's not a down. The other two were downturns in the market values. Today, there's not a downturn in the market value. There's a downturn in the number of houses that are selling. Yeah. Okay, so let's get that straight. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's what people have to understand, because I think they're thinking, oh, it's a bad market. No, it's not a bad market. It's actually a good market. The only thing that's bad is that we don't have enough houses for all of these buyers to sell them. That's.
Yeah, and that's very true. And with that, where do you see the market in 2024?
Well, the market, I think, is we're going to be pretty similar. We'll still have lower inventory. And I think they're talking about the rates being probably in the 5s or 6s. Okay. So that should, help move it. But again, if you're a buyer, just get in as soon as you can, as quick as you can, because it's not going to change a whole lot.
Yeah,
and we can already see that forecasting.
And as a buyer, I will say this: if 2024 is a year that you might consider, purchasing a home, the sooner you can. Speak to a realtor, speak to a real estate agent, just to discuss, set up a plan, get all the ducks in order, the better, because it doesn't happen overnight, right?
Right, exactly.
You don't say, I want to buy a house, and then tomorrow you close escrow. It's
a process.
It's a process. Mm-hmm. And the sooner you can get that process started to just get all the ducks in order, the better position you will be in when that time is right. Yeah. And as far as for real estate agents, what would you... as far as where the market will be in 2024, do you have any suggestions, any advice to real estate agents?
I just think agents, this is remember, sales is not a self-motivating. Sales is a self-motivating business, but people in America are not self-motivated. So when you get into real estate, you got to understand we're dealing with people's money, their life, their family, and their biggest investment. This is not a part-time job, and most people in real estate think it's a part-time job. No, I'm available when my client needs me. I need to be watching the transaction, working for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the big downfall is, and that's why a lot of agents are already out of the business. Taking care of the client, and then also we've got to be prospecting, looking for buyers and sellers so that they can pick us because they know that we're the professional. We're the one that's going to be there for them. We're the one who's willing to work full time for them, to be there for them, and that we know how to negotiate. We know how to market their property. We know how to get the best price. And then on the buyer side is that we're helping them find their property, because a lot of times my agents get their offers accepted because they do work for me, because people know that if they work for Marty Rodriguez, Marty's like the real estate police,
Yeah, exactly.
So and they know that that we're going to get it done, and we're going to follow through. And I think that's what's important and valuable, no matter who you are or who you work for. And that's probably my message to other agents out there, is that they need to take this job serious, because it is a serious job.
And I want to add to that, because in what you're saying, as far as it's about our clients, right? And I'm going to go back to something you said earlier, that when we're talking, you said you talk about helping people and the people that you can help. And I love that, because I think that is your mindset in seeking how many people you can help, instead of looking at your own numbers and saying, I need these transactions on this month. I need this number. I need this. No, it's about who else can I help next?
Yes.
And it's about helping that client, and everything else will come into place. But I think it's what's made you to Marty that we know in this industry, because you're really out there just seeking to help people.
Yeah, like I had a client, and he wanted to sell his rental, and I said, before we sell the rental, I go, let's do our homework. I said, I want you to know what your tax ramifications are going to be to sell that rental. And I'm thinking, how many agents would have told him that? They just want to make a sale. No, I went through the tax ramifications. I figured out what his bases were, what his profit was. And by the time we calculated his taxes would be over $100,000, he said, wow, Marty, he goes, I had no idea. And they don't have any idea. And, that's why I know a little bit about everything. Taxes is not my job, but it is my job to protect my clients. So we ended up not selling that house for him, because sometimes, we don't sell something if it's not right for the client either. We know what? We have to live by, our values and, and do what's right for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that message.
Yeah. I can tell you that message, I've so many times when I've guided them in the right direction, and you know what? But in the long run, they don't forget me either when it comes to referring me to other people.
The other day, I think it was probably about 2 months ago, there was a gentleman that came in, and I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. He came in and he was asking for you, and when you came over, he gave you a big hug, and I think you had helped him on a couple of transactions.
Oh yes,
and helped him to be where he's at today, and he was very, very grateful. He took the time out of his day just to come over and say hi to you and say thank you for that.
Yes.
So that was pretty awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he had purchased several properties, from us, and it all worked out good for him. So that's our job.
That's our job.
Yeah, to make dreams come true. The team that delivers the dream.
That's right. That's right. And, I love this, Marty. I love being able to just have an opportunity to talk to you, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. I mean, she's just knowledge. There's so much knowledge that she has.
Thank you. Yes, and that I want to share.
Exactly.
With my agents, with my clients, with everyone around me. And like you said, and sometimes it's not just real estate. It's so many. There's so many other things, and my husband says Marty can sell anything.
Yeah. She really can.
If I believe it, I can sell it.
That's right. Well, this has been fun.
Yes, it's been fun, and
really enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to Real Talk with Marty Rodriguez and
Isait de la Fuente.
We'll see you next time.